Get down!
You already have something the Guild values far more than me. You just don't see it.
What?
The Mandalorian. His armor alone's worth more than my bounty. Then think what it would do for your reputation. A Mandalorian shot up the Guild on Navarro. Took some high-value target and went rogue. Your name will be legendary. Word is, he still has the target with him. Some say it's a child. Look, if you're afraid to take him on, fear not. I can help you with that.
That's good advice.
Yo, what is going on everybody? Welcome back to the channel. This is my review of Book of Boba Fett episode 4. Now last week, very controversial review that I gave you guys, and really I was just being honest with my views, but I'm happy to say I think this episode this week has definitely redeemed itself. Gathering Storm sets out to explain how Boba Fett rescued Fennec from a gut wound and took her on as his business partner. This episode also runs in line with the events of The Mandalorians last season. So I had so much fun with this episode, guys, in comparison to last week. So my question here coming from the last video is, this series badly needs a big-time villain. And there was always a chance that the Pikes were going to work with someone entirely different, and that the Book of Boba Fett will mark the return of Crimson Dawn Syndicate, as I predicted in my reviews. But I'm going to have a look at my top 5 of who I think is going to be there. Also, the stars are talking up the big reveal in the final episode, episode 7. Tamura Morrison and Ming-Na Wen teases the upcoming finale will have fans seeing the Star Wars series in a different light. And that's big talk for a show begging for something special to happen. The Book of Boba Fett will now need to reveal that Pike Syndicate is indeed the threat that the Hutts were scared of, and that they were just a pawn in a larger scheme, being worked on by someone a lot bigger. So let me give my breakdown of who I think the top 5 people could be that is the big bad, or not so bad. My number 5 is Han Solo. Yeah, I hear you all laughing, but we didn't really think that Luke was going to turn up either in this series, in terms of Mandalorian, but yet he did. And this is, remember, 5 years after Return of the Jedi. So Han would have parted ways with Leia around this time. You know, smuggler, captain of the Millennium Falcon, has long celebrated as one of the film's series' greatest characters, and we saw the actor reprise his role in J.J. Abrams' Force Awakens, which is 25 years into the future from this date in the current timeline. So if he's set to reappear, it's not exactly hard to see why the creators could put him back into the series. Now, he was a boyfriend of Kira, and he was aware of Crimson Dawn at the time. So who else would be behind trying to control and get back at Jabba's empire to take it away from Darth Maul and Kira? Could be him. In this criminal underworld, Han was firmly a part of it. And it would also be that massive surprise for the fans as a lead character that has been promised that fans wouldn't expect. Number 4. My choice is, and this is my favourite, Fennec Shand. And this choice is just my fun pick. In my reviews, I've asked for something to happen to her because she deserves much better, and in terms of her role in the Star Wars universe. She's more street smart than Boba is. He did say in this episode she's brains and brawn all wrapped into one. An elite mercenary, master assassin who worked for the top crime syndicates during the age of the Galactic Empire. She's skilled and ruthless, and by standing by and seeing Boba Fett being nice to everyone and bringing peace to the region, that is maybe why she's making a power grab for the whole sector. Renowned for having a reputation as a cunning and elite mercenary, this would be perfect for backstabbing Boba Fett in the back. Well, for me anyway. But it would also lack that wow factor that the fans want to see. I mean, we had Luke in the Mandalorian. I talked about Han Solo. But Fennec Shand as the big bad, the person behind the curtain, I don't think that would go down well with the fans. My third choice, guys, is Prince Zizor and the Black Sun. Now, Darth Vader's enemy who tried to weaken Vader's stance next to Palpatine's side in the comics. This meant that he was actually killed by Vader in the books. Still, he's now officially canon again, and since he made an appearance in the Clone Wars TV series, starting to understand why the Empire did not last long, really, because all this inner circle fighting between the Empire, you just couldn't, all of them are at war with each other. Between all the criminal syndicates creating that instability from within, most of them took each other out, as we know. A lot of Legends characters are perfect to be brought back into the new canon, and you can see why. Now, number 2, who would be my number 2's vote for the big bad in this series? It's the one who I've talked about every single week, Cura and Crimson Dawn. I bet you're all a bit mad at the fact that this isn't number 1. Yeah, well, as I said, I talked about it every episode. But this could be the answer to our questions. But here's the reason why I don't think it will happen. At the end of the Crimson Dawn reign comic book series, it shows us that the story is a tragedy about the fall of Crimson Dawn. This makes it seem unlikely that Cura and Crimson Dawn will not appear in the Book of Boba Fett. Cura's return in the comics was exciting, and there's still hope for me that she turns up. Under her guidance, Crimson Dawn operated from the shadows and has significant influence with other crime syndicates while also manipulating them. And the same thing may be happening in the Book of Boba Fett with the Pikes. She could easily be behind it, and so could Darth Maul. So really, both of them go together at number 2. Number 1, and again, some people in the movies won't even know about him, but all the followers of Dave Filoni from Star Wars Rebels and Star Wars Clone Wars series know him fully well. Yes, the big surprise, Grand Admiral Thrawn. Will he become the main villain? I think it's a good chance because he's the main villain of the Mandalorian and the Ahsoka series, which has both taken place during the same time period. It's possible that Thrawn could also be the big bad of this series as well. This way, his presence as a global galaxy-faring mastermind will have more of a hold on this new story that connects all of the series, like Ahsoka, Mandalorian, and there's also a new series called Rangers of the New Republic 2. That can also be connected. So that's my top 5 picks. I'd love to know from those 5 who you guys would want as the big bad for this series. But this episode really brought back a lot of nostalgia, going back to the big barge where Jabba died, going back, you remember Slave One? Fett's famous vehicle is a Firespray 31 class gunship built in the shipyards of the planet Kite. Now, it seems that Boba Fett refers to the ship as Firespray Gunship. So he didn't even call it Slave One. So it's clear that Disney is rewriting this as canon because of the word slave. Obviously, Disney higher-ups don't want anything to do with anything controversial, so it seems that they've changed the name of the ship to coincide with their family-orientated shows. Also, the modifier who patched up Fennec Shan is played by bass guitarist and singer and songwriter Thundercat. His real name is Stephen Bruno, and you guys know he won a Grammy in 2016's Best Rap Song for Performance. So I was shocked when he saw that. I jumped onto my phone I was like, boy, that's Supercat. So that was a nice surprise. Also, guys, and the sail barge from Return of the Jedi where Jabba died in this episode, and I was surprised to see that the Sarlacc was still alive. And I guess Disney's new direction changes this approach. When Fennec and Fett finished it off with the help of Firespray and a sonic torpedo, I think for us, that is that. Sarlacc is finally dead and we've got an official notice about it. And also, guys, Black Chrysanthemum didn't just attack the Trandoshan because he was having a bad day. They threw this in because the two species have a long history of violence. So I'm glad that they kind of paved that off. And he was such a badass in this series. He really was. But they kind of didn't show the coming together. They're partners and, they kind of group up Boba Fett and Black Chrysanthemum. And they kind of showed him walking out of the cantina. There was like no real words, but it looks like he's following them and he's on board with what Boba Fett wants to do. I wish there was a little bit more banter between the two in that respect, but it seems he's on board anyway. So, What's next is the big surprise. You guys heard it. The reappearance of the Mandalorian flute theme in the middle and at the end of the episodes, which now links the two shows together. Because remember, guys, in terms of timing, when he found Fennec Shand, that means that Grogu and Mandalorian is actually in Mos Espa at this time. So they're both on Tatooine. So I think that that's exactly what this episode indicates. So what we're going to see next week, guys, is anybody's guess. But for me, guys, I'm going to give this a solid 8 out of 10. As I said, I really enjoyed it. It brought back a lot of reasons why Boba Fett was doing the things that he did and why he's taken a different approach. And while it seemed to us that, yes, he doesn't want to do bounty hunting anymore, last week I was saying he's just got soft. And actually, Fennec Shand called him soft in this episode. But that can't be anything far from the truth. It's not that he's soft. It's just that he doesn't want to be the guy who's killing people, taking the risk, and getting a bounty payment out of it. He wants to be the guy who's paying the bounties. He wants to be at the top of the chain and in charge of everything. So now we've got a little bit more sort of gravitas on what he actually wants. And it makes sense. And it definitely, in this episode, puts him in a powerful seat. So I kind of do like that. They definitely redeemed themselves after last week's foolishness. But let me know what you guys think. Yeah, good episode, and I hope that they like this. But they've left a lot on the table for us by saying we're going to get a surprise in episode 7. They really have upped the ante, so our expectations are high. And let me know what you guys think would be your favourite to surprise us in this show. I'm going for Grand Admiral Thrawn. Speak to you guys on the next one, man. Peace out.